Abyssal Reef is our first map in this next best of 5 between the players going to the bottom right in teal playing Zerg. It's Miyuni. And to the top left in yellow, our Protoss. It's Jailbreaker. Both newbies to the FSL. Let's see what they can show us in this best of 5. Miyuni known to be fairly aggressive in the early game. So I guess we're going to see an... Oh, okay, actually not a pull first, which is fairly interesting. Okay, Jailbreaker now seeing that the drone is moving out, not trying to prevent the hatch from going down. Here it goes. So... okay. Seems as if Miyuni just wants to make sure that no sort of proxy pylons get planted down anywhere. We'll now go into pool and then into gas afterwards. But yeah, like I said, Miyuni likes to produce a lot of early links in order to put some pressure onto her opponent. Let's see if she will stay true to her playstyle in this best of 5. Extractor almost done. And here we have the first 3 workers, overlords being moved into position. This one overlord to check for a 3rd base and maybe even fly in a little bit later. This one also flying back here, maybe also in case you want to fly in a little bit later to get some scouting information on what the Protoss is planning, because that's something you really need to do as a Zerg player. Of course, scouting is important for every race, but since Zerg is the so-called reactive race, it's pretty important for them to know ahead of time what the opponent will throw at them, so that you will prepare your tech accordingly and start producing units at the best time possible. So, Jailbreaker already walling off this part of the map completely, so it's only the small gap that leads into the natural base and upwards that ramp into the main. Base heavily oversaturated, but probably a few drones or workers, probes, will now be slided down towards the natural base. A roach horn income for Miyuni straight away. So seems as if she just wants to go for either a pure Roach or Roach Ravager push. She does not have any Vespene geysers taken right behind this. So it will be a little bit problematic for her to actually build anything with only these few geysers. Don't really know what her plan is at that point in time. Speed is almost done. Also, fairly untypical to get speed out if you want to go for a roach horn that quickly and then straight into roaches, because those are now 100 gas especially. The 100 minerals don't really matter that much, but the 100 gas of course are something you could have invested into something else. But of course, if you want to go for full out all in and you want to reinforce your existing forces close to the front of the opponent, then of course speed can come in handy, because your units will just cross the map so much more quickly than usual. Okay, yeah, gets killed off by the roaches immediately, but now Jailbreaker of course knows what's headed her way, and I can't really see Miyuni breaking through this. I mean, that's the other part. Jailbreaker is known for a lot of static defenses. Turtling on 2 bases is her forte. And she has 2 cannons in position, has a pylon for photon overcharge, has 2 zealots as well, and now even plans down another pylon just in case she'll need it. Miyuni at the meantime probably assuming either if... Oh no, actually she knows that there's no 3rd base, so she just wants to use the left-hand side in order to get in a little bit more easily, because that way she doesn't have to fight upwards that ramp. So of course that's better for her, but like I said, I don't think she will be able to break through here. She has a lot of forces here and is applying a lot of pressure. Might actually now turn back with the links and will try to get through the main entrance here, but in the meantime a lot of her roaches are dying to the cannon fire and the fire of the overcharge. A lot of more units streaming in. Maybe she will be able to eventually break through, but Jailbreaker has already reinforced her defenses, has set up a few more of these buildings, and the 3 cannons over to the right-hand side, in addition to these 2 pylons firing with photon overcharge, just kill off everything. And, well, I mean, that was a really heavy commitment there for Miyuni. I don't know if this is actually what she wants to do here. I think this must be a mistake. Sending 4 drones. No, actually 6 drones across the map. Yeah, even right into cannon fire. No, that was definitely not what she wanted to do. So very unfortunate for her, doing some sort of misclick, rallying units out here to die. Only drones that could, in the meantime, be mining back at home. Mining she really needs. Trying to save the game from here on out by taking a quick third, but I don't know. I don't know, Kev. That was a lot of units that just got wasted into this wall of the Protoss player. Not really dealing any sort of economical damage. And now the Protoss is 41 workers ahead to the 25, while the 3rd base is only halfway done for Zerg. Okay, more and more roaches streaming in, trying to at least take down these rocks, but the photon cannon is in position. This roach is going to die. Miyuni not paying attention here. Moving in with a few more links from the left-hand side, but this is not open at all. There's no way for Miyuni to break this here. With a few units she actually has. I mean, of course she's desperate. From that point on, a normal macro game seems impossible. So she desperately tries to break through and deal some damage. She needs to deal more damage because she was so heavily committed to early aggression, yeah, and now just streaming in with most of these links. Was probably expecting there to be some sort of opening, but there wasn't. And actually I think if Jailbreaker realizes how much her opponent has already sacrificed, she could just break through these rocks, move out, and kill her straight away, because there's nothing at home for Miyuni. Only a few links, and now again, sending these workers towards the front. I don't really know how this is actually always happening. She must actually box something and send it across the map? Oh no, actually, ooh, looks like she... Okay. Looks like she somehow misread. I mean, you must actually click minerals. Where does this lead to? You have to click minerals in order to send the drones over here. Which minerals did she click? What the... Oh no, the gas! She clicked the gas, guys, here. Oh, how very unfortunate. Wanted to just reset the rally points of her hatcheries, and unfortunately right-clicked the Vespene Geyser so that the rally point of these drones got reset twice even this game. Very, very unfortunate there for her. A lot of drones lost and a lot of lost mining time as well. And here's the big push I was talking about. Jailbreaker just waiting for a little more. Does not see the Overlord. Miyuni knows this is coming, but what good does it do her? She just does not have enough forces in order to hold this. I mean, a few Ravagers might actually help, but only so much. There are 3 Immortals out right now, a lot of Sentries as well. Mostly actually a Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm composition here. Very force field heavy, but yeah, it would actually work out quite well since there are no Ravagers inside Miyuni's army. Don't really know what Jailbreaker actually wanted to accomplish here. Probably just wanted to make her opponent produce more units instead of drones. And now just retreats towards her 3rd base, waiting for a few more units to come in and then crush her opponent later. But yeah, it looks like she was a little bit uncertain, maybe got discouraged to move more forward because she saw the Overlord and thought that now, after being spotted, she didn't really want to engage into a prepared Zerg player. But yeah, Miyuni moving forwards, trying to deal some more damage over at her opponent's side, but she just does not have the forces. And I think now Jailbreaker will realize, if I kill this force, my opponent cannot really have that much left at home. And will probably just move in and kill off everything. This base is just barely saturated. 5 more roaches in the making. Don't really know what the sentries would actually do here. And the Guardian Shield, but yeah, why not? Yeah, moving in. There's nothing to defend here. Expect GG any minute. because that's the only option left for Miyuni. There you go, GG. And Jailbreaker takes the first map. Odyssey is our second map. We have the player who chose it, spawning to the top left-hand corner. It's Miyuni. And to the bottom right, in yellow, it's our Protoss, Jailbreaker, who likes to write faces, apparently. Going for the wall on top of the ramp. And I think that's actually a wise choice. If she studied her opponent a little bit, she should know that Miyuni likes her aggressive builds, and against a player who could just rush you off of one base, you don't really want to take a base on the low ground with any sort of preparation. So drone moving around a little bit once more, just scouting the edges. Seems as if she just wants to see whether some sort of pylons or whatever got thrown down. Don't really know what she's doing there. But plants down the spawning pool and the extractor right behind it. And again, I'm pretty certain we will see some sort of early attack. Jailbreaker in the meantime waiting for the 400 minerals to arrive in order to plant down the natural base nexus. Now just has to wait for the next 150 to get a cybernetic score. And here we go. So the entrance towards the main base is almost sealed. We only need one more unit for this gap to block. While Miyuni is waiting for her spawning pool to finish, we'll get a queen. And probably another queen down here as well, once the hatch pops. And already starting the first few links. So let's see if it's going to be roaches once more, or if this time around she wants to overwhelm her opponent with speedlings, or if she actually goes into a straight up macro game. So, first two zerglings out. Missed the probe up here, unfortunately. So, but now she sees it. Okay, moves in. Oh no, actually she didn't see it, she just wanted to scout the edges of her main base and found the probe by coincidence. So in the meantime, Jailbreaker tries to get a full wall off at her front using a forge and 2 more gateways, has the mothership core in place. But of course, that would make her, or that makes her pretty vulnerable, especially on this map, to any sort of drop play, which Miyuni unfortunately is not going for. But yeah, I mean, this base is so wide open. There's no pylon back here, no defense whatsoever. Jailbreaker sometimes seems to be still stuck in Heart of the Swarm gameplay here, having 3 photon cannons again at the front of the base. But yeah, no defense back here whatsoever. She's totally relying on the opponent to stubbornly try to break through the front, while now it's very possible for Zerg players to just get Overlord drops done very early in the game. The only thing you need is not a hatchery, but an evolution chamber. And yeah, with an evolution chamber and maybe Overlord speed, because it helps out a lot. Okay, now there's a pylon here, but it wouldn't help anyways. I mean, at that point in time, when the pylon scouts the Overlords, it would be already too late. And again, Miyuni unfortunately doing exactly what Jailbreaker is expecting her to do, trying to break right through that front that is so heavily fortified. There is no way a Zerg player can break this, especially not without Banelings, but even with Banelings it just wouldn't work. With a few good Ravager shots taking out all of these pylons, she might be able to actually break through, but you would need a lot of roaches and ravagers behind it, taking a lot of shots while firing down the biles. But yeah, that might actually work, unpowering everything here by taking out these pylons. But yeah, I think you would need at least 8 ravager shots, maybe more. Well, you could plant them somewhere close here because they stand so close to each other, so you could just throw them right in the middle. Would actually need a few more, but yeah, that's usually not how you do it. So, Probe tries to get some information, but the links are there. Not even speed links, though. Seems as if Miyuni unfortunately forgot speed, or she just wanted to move across the map as soon as possible, but it seems like more of a misplay here. Okay, has the third base in check over here, has the third base in check over here. Tries to take a third base a lot more quickly this time around, but is already behind in workers and supply. Again, mostly due to her aggressive style, wanting to deal damage early on, but thus sacrificing. Ooh, and now of course the zealots just trying to get through these links here, at least granting the probe a free way across the map so that it might now have the chance to scout. And Miyuni, of course, going into Spire play, because what can I say, she just loves her mutas. Pretty much like Novea. So yeah, that's like a typical Skyle, trying to deal some early damage, pressuring the opponent with early links, and then just transitioning into mass muta. Could kind of work out. Thus far, Jailbreaker does not have that much anti-air. Even going for a lot of zealots here, which is also pretty 2014. Yeah, getting more and more gateways, but Miyuni sees it, has the... and also sees the rest of the tech. Yeah, even getting charge slots. I mean, is this going to be Chargeable Archon? I don't see a Templar Archive anywhere. Oh, there it is. Never mind. It is Chargeable Archon. So never mind. I just didn't see the Templar Archive being produced because I was too busy explaining other stuff. Oh, even a second Spire. Really wants to get out these Spires and the upgrades, it seems. So first Spire is out. Let's see how many mutas she will be able to produce. Not that many. Having a look at the mineral count. And there the army is coming. Well, it's Archon and Zealots, but unfortunately it's the total counter army to the army that Miyuni has right here, which is only a handful of links. So luckily for Miyuni, Jailbreaker is actually taking her sweet time, waiting for the push to happen, was probably expecting the third base over here, and is now even recalling. Okay, that was quite odd. Okay, was probably expecting a third base to be over here. Did not guess that the third base would be over here. Didn't want to move around since she, again, probably was expecting her opponent to know about this. So now Miyuni is going into her first few Mutalisks. And again, I mean, we have some anti-air in the form of Archons. And some cannons, but not at the important positions. So, Mutas could actually deal a great amount of damage here. Hydralisk then probably wants to go into lurkers behind this, but maybe only... Okay, checking the gold. Okay, we'll probably lose that Overlord as well. Will not get supply block though. Okay, now the mutas move in. The mutas don't really want to fight where the Archons are, but of course the mutas can just always fly straight into the main. Where's the Mothership Core? Pretty much out of place. No, there it is. Okay. Well, kinda out of place, but of course, if it wants to fly in order to photon overcharge these pylons, the mutas could just snipe it. Okay, mutas over here will now fly in. There's cannons in place, but not over here. Can actually just easily take out that Aptosis pylon over here, and now Jailbreaker has to decide. Just wanted to retreat for a little minute here. Probably thinks that the base is over here at the 4th base location. No, I don't really know what Jailbreaker is doing here. This is some very odd army movement. I don't really know what she's doing. Okay, Miyuni now going in, actually flying over that photon cannon here. And now it seems as if Miyuni has seen the army with the Xel'Naga watchtower over here, is forced to fly back with a few of her mutas. Or not. Well, she just retreated for a little bit, wanted to regroup her mutas, but now the rest of the army is incoming. Might actually be that she has not seen the army incoming after all. And now it's moving in. We have 3 Archons in place. These will be pretty problematic to deal with. These Stalkers are not really the problem, but of course these Zealots are also ripping through all of these workers here. 21 killed already. And now, of course, you don't really want to fight clumped up above these Archons here. Killed the Mothership Core. Killed... Yeah, and the Archons just shred all of the Mutas. 33 workers killed. So taking the worker streak, kill streak record from Miyako again. GG. And Jailbreaker takes the second game as well. Miyuni chose Ascension to Ayur. Pretty much the same map, layout-wise, compared to Odyssey. I mean, we also have a wide open entrance with no ramp towards the natural. We have a third base pretty close by. We have a fourth base over here to the right-hand side, but there's no ramp. So yeah, these are pretty similar. Let's see what she can do this time around. Her aggressive tactics, unfortunately, have not worked out so far for her. Let's see if she wants to switch it up, or if indeed she wants to go for Overlord drops, or maybe even a Nidus Worm play later on. So Miyuni again making sure that somehow there are no pylons around her creep. I don't really know why she's always sending out this probe down here. I mean, it would make more sense to just send the probe somewhere over here into the dark of your own main base, just in case somebody would build proxy gateways inside your base, which is something we haven't actually seen quite some time now. Okay, the probe checking for a possible third over here, a little bit too soon maybe, but yeah, some players even put these on patrol command in order to just keep constantly checking for a potential third base to come or not. In the meantime, Cybernetics Core going down with the base on the low ground. And of course the pylon that will just grant enough energy in order to seal this part off with buildings. Overlords on the move. First few links already out. Might do some scouting, might actually wait a little bit. Speed still not incoming, but now it is. 100 gas finally piled up. And more drones incoming. So if Miyuni actually wanted to go into a straight up macro play, she would have to take a third base soonish. Drone is moving out, but only to saturate the natural base. 2 more queens being produced. Metabolic boost in the making as well. Does not seem as if she really wants to go into another base. Okay, sends the Overlord in order to see how well saturated this base is down here. And again, the Forge wall, the Forge and Cannon wall at Jailbreaker's base. But like I said, I mean, if people actually watch these replays and want to prepare for her as Zerg players, yeah, you want to be aware of the possibility of Ling drops or Nidus Worms. Well, actually Ling drops. Nidus Worms would actually come a little bit later, but still it might work. I mean, later on, Jailbreaker tends to lighten up these dark areas of her main base using pylons and buildings later on. But yeah, I mean, if you set a good Nidus Worm somewhere where it's just barely seen and occupy your opponent otherwise, just distract them by like attacking the front and making them wonder, and then suddenly your Nidus Worm works out and everything streams right into the main base. Yeah, but of course, the sooner the better. So, Miyuni now again tries to go head on through that wall. There is a wide open gap here, but a lot of Photon Overcharge plus Cannon Fire and Zealots. And again, Miyuni losing all of her forces by trying to get through that heavily fortified wall. Didn't quite work out, has almost taken her third back here, but her natural base is not even halfway saturated. So again, she's just way behind in workers already. Didn't manage to do any damage whatsoever, except for getting that one cannon. Even placing another one here, Jailbreaker is, because she just has realized that her opponent is obviously going for a lot of heavy aggression early on, so she just makes sure that her front is well secured while her back is wide open. So yeah, Miyuni could have actually made great use of that, but unfortunately didn't. More queens coming out, now going into heavy droning. We can't really say that right now, probably because there's no lava left. Okay, here we go. 9 more workers in the making. Wants to play catch up right now and can actually do so. So if she just is a little bit more patient, and if her opponent, of course, does not hit a critical timing, then Miyuni should actually be able to get into this, to get back into this game. Wish she just sent 2 links here in order to take these Zelnaga watchtowers, because and have something in front of here, so she will always know when her opponent wants to move out. Okay, just sends in the changeling, but it doesn't get far. Yeah, has the overseer in position now. So yeah, that's like I said, the most important thing to know as a Zergling. You always want to have a lot of map vision in order to realize when your opponent moves out, so that you will be able to drone as heavily as possible. And once you realize your opponent actually is moving out, you just finish producing workers and you just start producing units non-stop, and eventually that should help you defend the incoming push. Unless, of course, you just waited for too long and your opponent has just gathered forces and forces and forces, suddenly moves out, and the only thing you have are a couple of links. Then, of course, you die anyways, because even Zerg cannot produce that much in only one production cycle. So, Probe getting another scout will probably not get too far into the main base. There it dies. Does she know about the third base? Is probably expecting one by now, but does not really know for sure. Templar Archives in the making, and do we have speed once more? Yeah, it's again going to be Speedlet Archon Immortal, and probably again a few sentries maybe? No. Okay, Gateway's finished just along with the Templar Archives, so even if it is an old build, Jailbreaker knows her timings. And is now trying to take a third base as well, while Miyuni is taking a fourth. So both players just sitting back, relaxing. Actually, at that point in time, it would be Jailbreaker's duty to harass the Zerg player and keep her from droning up and getting a good economy, because that can spiral out of control very quickly if you let a Zerg player do what they want to do. But of course nowadays it has changed a little bit. As a Zerg player you at least want to make sure that your opponent is not going into mass carriers, because fighting the Golden Armada can be fairly problematic at some point in time. Although we saw QB winning fairly easily against Koshki last week, where Koshki also went into mass air, but QB's infestors with a neural parasite easily managed to get rid of that army. So I like the spread now for Miyuni, the Overlord spread, and the map vision it grants her, so she will always see a force headed her way, incoming way before it arrives at her own bases. She still does not have that many powerful forces here, a lot of Hydras though. Seems as if she does. Well, I mean, Hydras only with a lot of beef in front of them can actually be kind of problematic. Good thing for her opponent is that the Templar Archive was so far only there in order to give her access to Archons and not to anything else. So the Hydras can actually deal a lot of damage, but they are fairly squishy. So you usually don't want to have Hydras on their own. I mean, unless you have a really big lot of them. But yeah, I mean, with the army units just moving in, as soon as the army gets close to your Hydras, they just melt so quickly. You have to be really careful here. So you either use good micro in order to stutter step away from the units, or you just lose all your precious Hydras. Ow, that hurt. Going into Lurker Den, but no Hydras left. Are there any standing forces whatsoever? No. That was just the complete army. 24 roaches in the making, yeah. If she had just waited for the 24 roaches and then walked in with the 24 roaches and the Hydras, this fight would have looked completely differently. But thus, it seems as if Jailbreaker might just break through here. Still doesn't want to overcommit. Seems as if she's fairly uncertain, so she doesn't want to risk getting crushed here, losing her advantage. She's just gained, so she retreats for now. Maybe actually overestimating the production possibilities of her opponent here. 1-1 upgrades, 2-1 incoming for Miyuni. Okay, killing another Overlord over here. Moves in once more. I don't think there's so many more units here, but the Warp Prism is now incoming. Okay, and this is actually quite a nice army for Miyuni here. Has a lot of Ravagers, is not throwing down the belts, but now she is. And with the Hydras in the back here, that is what I was talking about. Way more potential of dealing damage with this army Miyuni is. And now moving forwards, 137 to 115 supply, even more army supply. And yeah, this army is way more sturdier than the other one. The one with... And now imagine if all those Hydras hadn't died at the beginning, like the 17 or 20 Hydras. Imagine those with this army. God, she could easily crush and roll over her opponent, no problem whatsoever. So another Warp Prism on its way, and we also have a pylon that went by undiscovered, warping in a few Zealots here. Very unfortunate again for Miyuni not to spot this. And yeah, of course now she has to deal with all of these Zealots while her army is just in front, and now she grows impatient, wants to deal some counter pressure back, but is standing in a really bad spot here with all of the Immortals firing down most of these roaches here. The damage output by the Hydras is enormous, but it will not suffice in the end. So Miyuni loses all of her forces in the front. Now more units being morphed inside her own base, especially with the Archons even morphing in. No more forces back at home. Most of these roaches stream out in order to deal with the units over here. Yeah, she now sees the pylon, but it does not really matter. A lot of her important tech buildings get taken down inside the main base at this point in time. If she just had some Hydralisks out or some Lurkers, this defense would be so much easier. And yeah, now Jailbreaker moving forwards with the remainders of her army from the fight back at her third. But there's nothing left for Miyuni to defend, unfortunately. I don't really see it happening here. Zealots just ripping every important tech building apart that there is inside the main base. At the same time, Miyuni trying to fight as best as she can at two different fronts. Will eventually end up clearing this push over here. Might actually even be able to take out these forces in the long run, although it will be pretty problematic, especially with only Hydras against most of these Zealots. And now, unfortunately, the move command as well, trying to take the focus fight on that Archon, but barely does not get it, so even that will heal up to full health once more, full shields. The lair is going to die, the Hydra den, the Lurker den is going to die, more and more units beam within. I love your race! And Jailbreaker takes the series 3-0.